Association. My laptop, oh, there we go. Okay. So just some ground rules, housekeeping, etiquette. If you're attending for extra credit, there's a QR code on the screen, but there's also going to be a link circulating through the chat for the duration of the presentation. So use that to sign in, because that's how your professors will be keeping track of attendance. We will not be keeping track of attendance through the chat box, only through this form. Please stay muted for the duration of the presentation. We will have an open floor Q&A session at the end of the town hall if you'd like to raise your hand, which is the mute button. Thank you, Talia. I have the little how-to guide at the top of the slide for how to access the raise hand feature for students. If you have a question, you can also send it in the chat box and we'll use this. Can someone give me confirmation that you can hear me okay? Because I have my audio and video on different devices. Okay, thank you, JJ. All righty, next slide, please. We'll begin with some introductions. First off, we have Dr. Veronica Garcia, President of Northeast Lakeview College, joining us today. We also have the Vice President for Student Success, Dr. Tangela Dove, and the Vice President for Academic Success, Dr. Laura Boyer-Sanchez. The Deans for Academic Success are Dr. Shante Rakasner, Ms. Tammy Perez, and Mr. William Fanning. Our Dean for Student Success is Julie Kirkland-Poyer. Our student trustee for the 2019-2020 academic year is Darius Martin, who is also a student at St. Philip's College. And now on to our lovely executive board. You have myself. My name is Megan Setterbo. I'm the president of Student Government Association for the 2019-2020 academic year. We also have Talia Christian, who is our vice president. Felicity Rost is our secretary. Morgan Varela is our historian and the alternate student trustee for this year. And Ace Trevino is our treasurer. Our advisors are John Jacobs, who also serves as the Director of Student Life for Northeast Lakeview College, and we also have Professor Mohsen Omar. I will now hand the floor over to Dr. Garcia to go through her presentation. She has some great updates for everybody for next semester, what some changes to campus. Dr. Garcia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Megan, and welcome everyone. It's nice to see all your faces. I love your Zoom backgrounds. Those are really cool. I don't know who designed them, but very nice. So to start out with the next slide, please, we wanted to share with you, we had our groundbreaking last week and as you can see, those of you that do come on campus, there's a huge hole right behind the academic building. So that's where our new STEM building will be. It's an 86,000 square foot building that's going to commence. And so right now they're just digging all the foundation. So Turner Construction, we're really excited about that construction firm because they also subcontract with several companies of minority owned, especially women. So we're very excited about that as well. So if you can go to the next slide. This is just a couple of pictures we wanted to show you what the exterior will look like. The one to the left is the actual overall building, and it will be located right on the on the side of academic. And you will have 3 floors on the left side, and then on the right side will be the science building. So this is another view, the one on the right. The gray part, that's that 3-level floors. We'll have 3-level floors there. We'll have most of there would be the classrooms. Advanced manufacturing is going to be on the first floor. We're going to have a couple of conference rooms on the 3rd floor, as well as faculty will be there. We'll have our engineering classroom. As many of you know, we have Texas A&M on site. And right now we have a room for 50 students. We will have a room that will hold up to 100 students. So what will be nice about that multi-purpose room is it can be shrunk down and it can expand anywhere from 30 to a classroom to 100. And then on the right side will be the the sciences, and that's where we'll have our physics, our chemistry, and our biochemistry courses in there as well. We're really excited about these changes. And then they're going to be adding a lot of outdoor space for people to use. We go to the next slide. So we wanted to give you an example what that looks like. As you can see on the right side, that's going to be, we're going to have at least 8 or 9 of those on the back side of the building. So students will be able to hang out. It'll have some covering, so it'll be a little bit cooler. On the inside, we will have a cafe like we do in the library. And so we will have coffee and all kinds of fun things to treat. And then on those windows that you'll see, that is actually where the science tutoring center will be. So students can go and take all of their tutoring or just hang out with their tutors if they need other areas that will be covered. We'll have a lot of sticky spaces, what we call, which will be spaces where students can hang out one-on-one. We'll have some of those pods that we have currently in the library. Some of you have used it. It's right behind one of the labs, and it's a 2-seater, and it closes and 2 people can sit in there. So we'll have a lot of that type of furniture and amenities for students to be able to find some more spaces where they can just hang out and study. But overall, the building's coming along nicely. We hope to complete this building by July so that we can have a fall grand opening 2022. So as I said, it's 86,000 square feet. There's going to be 3 levels, and we're really excited about the location and the fact that JECA will be right next to it. Is actually going to bring the whole campus together, I believe. We'll also have a roundabout where for those students that get dropped off, they'll be able to get dropped off in that roundabout right in front of that building. So a couple of other updates, if you can go to the next slide. As many of you, we have shared a lot of information about fall, and we just want to remind everyone after Thanksgiving through final exams, we'll be going remote with the uptick we expected with flu season coming around. We expected an uptick in COVID, and so we just wanted to make sure that students who went and saw family or family have come down, it'll just prevent the further spread if our students are not on campus. So for those that are on campus, we have about 125 students that are on campus, and staff, they will be leaving from the on-campus side and moving to remote through finals. This will return us in both faculty and staff. We will have emergency personnel, so IT will be available for the students if they have a problem with one of their laptops or their hotspots aren't working. IT will be available, as well as the help desk. But there will be no changes to the academic calendar other than that one shift, which we have advertised quite a bit, but we just wanted to just repeat it one more time. We know we've heard it at least 1,000 times. All right, next slide, please. We wanted to let you know that we're in the middle of winter semester. We've been growing in that, and that's a short-term courses. So those registrations are open, and students need to apply for spring. That's open as well. Those are the application dates for students who are interested in coming. We've done really well this fall semester. Even with COVID, we thought that our enrollment would decrease, but actually we increased by almost 50 students, more than what we had last year. So that means our students are moving through, and there any new students, we didn't see a loss there either. So students are still, even though we're in a remote status, they're still persisting, and they're still going to complete and be on track. So we're very proud of them. Our registration is also open. It's in the time ticketing right now, and it'll begin on November 16th. So let your colleagues know that they can go ahead and start trying to register for those classes, especially for those ones that fill up very quickly, like the sciences. Next slide, please. So we wanted to share with you some of the safety protocols that will be happening in spring. Even though there is an uptick in COVID and the flu season, we are still trying to anticipate that after the new year that we'll start to see a decrease again, and we'll be able to bring back 25% of our students. Many of our students really want to come back on campus. So we're going to target those first year courses like math, where students really rather take math in person versus online. So we'll be targeting a lot of that. And so we wanted just to kind of remind you all what happens. So right now, when you come on campus, Rudy's right there. You can see a picture. You can see Rudy on the actual Zoom call. He's actually in his office. So all the employees and students who come on campus have to go through a health screening. So you'll see that there's 2 individuals on the left, that picture. They go, they get their temperature taken, and then once their temperature is taken, we all get a wristband, which then clears us for, there's Rudy showing his wristband. So it clears us for the day. So that way, once the student has been cleared, they don't have to go through the screening process, or the faculty or staff member does not have to go through the screening process. We will have two stations. The Cyber Cafe is where the original station is, and then Kate will be open for as a pass-through and for those engineering students that are there. All employees and students are required to wear face coverings. Once you will see some employees that are in their office with their door closed. They don't have to wear their mask anymore, but once they walk out, you'll pretty much see everybody wearing their masks. And then, like I said, those wristbands are on the wrist. You'll know that somebody has gone through the screening process. We change the color every day, so that way we know who's actually gone through the process and who hasn't. So as Rudy's wearing his, today is blue. Next slide, please. So the social distancing, we have lots of signage. For those of you that haven't been on campus, there's lots of signage. The staircases all have signage of which way is up, which way is down. We're trying to really keep students away from each other and having in one direction so that we're not sharing too much space. We have lots of signs about how to wear your face mask, how to wash your hands, where to proceed. It's pretty much everywhere. And we also have in the classrooms sneeze guards and plexiglass barriers so that students, even though they're wearing their face mask, they will have an additional added protection. Traffic flow will include that one-way directional that I had mentioned. And even in the elevators, you'll see Nico's feet. It's where we want people to stand. So no more than 4 individuals in the elevator. We are excited about the elevators because in the library, we opened up the second elevator that's located on the, is that west, east? Rudy, what side of the building is that? Oh, I'm so lost.
Close to the Kate building side.
Oh, yes. Okay. So the elevator. We really need to figure out a
Thank you, Dr. Dove.
Anytime.
So that has been opened up, and so now students don't have to go to the elevator by the cafe. They can use the one that's closest to them. So we're real excited about that. Next slide, please. To minimize the safety measures, we have limited access to buildings right now. For the spring semester, the library building will be open, Kate, Science, and the Student Commons. Those will be the only 4 buildings that will be open. Academic will not be open. Academic is under construction on the right side. We're actually adding a second elevator there. So that's currently under construction and slated to be completed sometime in the end of February. We might have some small classes in academic. We're trying to finalize those if those are going to be the math courses, but more to come on that. As well as the building, the STEM building construction. So you'll see a lot of gates and barriers in that side of the building. Our Wi-Fi parking lots, 3 and 7 are the strongest. Even though we have Wi-Fi in all the parking lots, we would say that those are the strongest. 3 and 7 parking available in the Metrocon Circle, which is lots 5, 6, and 7 is where we will have people that can park that are on campus. We're trying to close some of the lots out there as we're doing some construction in there. There will be no food service because of COVID and the inability to really provide that service where we can provide food that's in a closed box. We work with a vendor who right now isn't able to assist us with that. So the Cyber Cafe and the cafeteria will be closed, but our water fountains, even though we said would not be in service, we just got some installed. The water fountains that you put your water bottle in. So if a student brings their own water bottle, they'll be able to push that and get the water from there. But the regular drinking fountain where you're going to lean over and drink, those will be closed. But we wanted to have something available to students. So we're very grateful that we're able to have those push water fountains available for you to bring your water bottle and fill up. Now we are going to have when you walk in, just so you know, there are gloves and masks for everyone. So students are more than welcome to take a pair of gloves, and they can use as they use opening and closing the doors. And they should be bringing in a face mask, but if they don't, we do have some available, but we just wanted to make sure everybody is aware of that. So basically, just hygiene, washing your hands, and making sure that we're staying clear from each other and that we're wearing the appropriate attire. Next slide, please. A couple of services that will be on campus. So the circulation and reference desk will be available by appointment during circulation hours. We are going to have a book drop off and curbside pickup services will continue. Library stacks and internal computer labs, study rooms, seating areas will be closed to all non-librarian employees, except for the employees, but to the students, we'll have those areas. Now we are going to have some specific labs that will be available for those brand new students that need to turn in some paperwork, but the student success folks will be scheduling those by appointment. We are going to have a virtual suite of services. So we'll be coordinating the circulation services. The Ask a Library chat is alive and well, and I've even used that. It works. They're very quick to respond, and they pretty much get you pretty much anything you need. The virtual library instruction upon request, information literacy videos are always available 24/7. The virtual reference services, one-to-one virtual research appointments with the libraries are also available. So they will be able to meet with you one-on-one if you need some research. And all of these slides will be made available to Megan to make sure that she can post it and inform the students. We are communicating a lot of this through our PR and through faculty, but we just wanted to make sure you're aware of what is available. Next slide, please.
I have a real quick question going back to the previous slide. Will there be some extra cups available in case students don't have a water bottle or something? Because typically when we were face to face, we did encounter that, especially in student life, and we would provide them whatever we had.
I don't think we have. I mean, if we have some available, we will provide them. I just don't know if we have enough throughout the semester. So we'd rather make sure that the students prepared to bring something with them. Because again, with plastic cups, what we don't want, Crystal, is to be adding to the landfill, right? The whole purpose of using a water bottle is that you're bringing in a water bottle and that we're not using plastic cups. So
also, the CDC guideline says that that coronavirus can stay on on plastic for 24 to 48 hours. So if I give Crystal a cup and I have the virus, now I've just spreaded the virus to Crystal.
Well, there you go, Crystal.
Sorry.
Don't want it. Thank you.
I'm just saying.
The COVID-19 is all about sustainability. So
I understand. Well, I know, and just FYI, rather than us purchasing, and I know that's not the issue. I understand what the issue really is, but we do still have those snow, the snow cone cups. And we've had those for years. We have a ton of them. I don't know if that's open, but if we needed them, that's just a FYI.
are those paper?
They're plastic. I
They're
just finished looking
plastic.
at them.
I know.
Come on, have that look
I
on
said,
my face. It's so plastic.
But they are still plastic.
We'll think of something, Crystal. We'll think of something, okay?
But
I know. I'm just concerned because I know the students will do that and they won't bring their water bottles sometimes, and they'll just be like, I don't have something to hold. Or if there's an emergency and they need water, to clear whatever's happening, we don't have that container for them. That's all I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, what we'll do is if we have some water bottles, I think PR may have a few, but we don't have a whole bunch there, which is why we're trying to make sure that we informed everybody, bring something, have something in your heart, have a couple of water bottles, and which most students are doing now. The students are bringing their water bottles because they're here. It's just getting the word out to make sure that that they're prepared to bring those water bottles. Again, we're trying to be sustainable. So unless we have water bottles that we can give out, I really would like to try to avoid the plastic so that we're not adding to that as well. Okay, so we went back to on-service campus. So on-site services will be available by appointment only, insurance to, appropriate buildings or room capacity and social distancing. There will be some services there. We will have that open lab that I mentioned earlier. The on-suite of services will still have tutoring through Zoom and BrainFuse. We will have drop-in Zoom sessions, which we have now. Right now, we have the tutoring and BrainFuse by appointment, so that's still going to happen. Embedded tutoring is still going to continue. Supplemental instruction, academic coaching will continue as well in the classroom. So these are all continuing services that we have. We just wanted to reassure the students that none of that is going to change, even though we're moving to a 25% face-to-face on suite of classes. Next slide, please. Student success, again, will be offering on-site essential student support services by appointment. So the advocacy center will be available so students can pick up food or necessary items, working with Grisela Garcia if they need additional support services or help with some type of finances, housing, some helping with their utilities. We will have appointments for students who need assistance with onboarding or testing or advising. Even though our advisors will be rotating in on campus, they will be taking appointments and we'll be putting students on Zoom to make sure that they are safe, they can come in, we'll put them in an office. So we're working all of those things out, as well as other student support services will be provided remotely. But again, if there's a need, I'm sure the student success folks have a plan B, plan C. So let students know that we are prepared to receive them on campus for those that need to. But the majority of the services will be provided remote, which is what's happening now. Next slide, please. So again, we'll be keeping you informed through your ACES email, the Nighthawk notes that we keep sending. We'll be sending those text messages that you're all getting. And then the traditional, what we call snail mail, which is email, as well as through Alamo Experience, where the student life folks are putting a lot of that information. And then much of the information that we're pushing out, especially if there's a change, because with COVID beginning to spike, we may have to shift. We don't know. We're just planning on that everything's going to be great. We're going to be back. 2021 is going to be a whole new year. It's going to be stronger. We'll be back to 25% and we're back to normal. We really are hoping that 2020 is behind us, but we will leverage social media and Instagram. I know a lot of students use Instagram. I'm not quite the Instagram master yet, but we will be communicating via Instagram if there's any changes. And then of course, faculty will be contacting students if there's any changes as well. So that's how we're going to continue to communicate. So please share that with your students, your colleagues, so that way they know, especially when we all go on the Christmas break. Sometimes we forget to say, oh yeah, we're going to come back to college. What does that look like? Maybe we should go and open up some of those emails so that way they don't show up and the colleges might not be there. Or we all might be there and they think that we're still closed. So we just wanted to make sure we gave you an overview of what to expect for spring semester. So with that, I believe the next slide is open for questions. I have Dr. Dove here and I have Dr. Sanchez if you have specific questions about either your academics or your student success side.
All right, again, y'all can use the raise hand feature, or you can submit a question in the chat box. Or if you think of a question after we've all left for the day, you can email us for SGA. We'll have our contact info at the end of the presentation, so take note of that, please. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Garcia or any of her colleagues?
I have to say, I do like the not a Mad Max situation. Thank you, Crystal.
I do have one question. I know Alamo College's district has the list of all the pop-up food distributions for this fall. Do we know when the spring might be available?
We have not planned spring yet, Crystal. We'll probably be doing that possibly in our December meeting, and advocacy may start prior to that because it goes through the advocacy team and then they bring it to the VPSSs and we have a discussion with the presidents. Then it goes up to SLT. So, okay. But as soon as we know, and I know we were working on some dates and I don't even know where those landed. We had submitted 2, but I don't even know what those 2 are, so I'm not gonna even mention those yet.
Yeah, we submitted to Dr. Dove. They're not official yet, but February and May, I believe. But
Mhm.
once they're official, we'll
Yeah.
let you all know.
I know we submitted it, I just don't know, and that was,
While back.
yeah.
I'll ask.
They're coming. We're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. Dr. Garcia, I have a question. I have a lot of students, they approach me and they ask me about the any kind of confirmed thing about the graduation for the spring. Are we gonna have a graduation? Are we gonna have, what's the situation down there? Because I got asked a lot of questions a lot.
Planning for graduation. We're hoping that, like I said, 2021 is going to be a different year. We're putting that positive energy out that COVID will, would have subside. Either way, we are going to have a graduation. What we decided is we already have a plan A, which is the normal graduation. I think this one's going to be a little bit different because we're going to invite last year's students who weren't able to walk. If they would like to walk, we will have, a different kind of stole or something to sort of recognize them because they did have a tough situation last year. We're going to invite that group to participate in graduation, but we will have the May graduation. And for some reason, COVID is alive and well, then we have a large enough space that we will be able to social distance as long as the Freeman Coliseum is available. That's where we have already contracted with. And so we've said, okay, that's our plan B. And then plan C is if for some reason the Freeman is now the testing area, we're trying to find a place again that we can social distance. It may limit the number of family that you can invite if that's that situation, but we'll figure that out. Either way, we're having something. But in our mind, it's just going to be the normal graduation at the Freeman Coliseum and we'll be back to normal. But like I said, if it doesn't happen, we have a plan B and we have a plan C. We've already been through this for a year, so we've got this.
A whole year.
I know. Can you believe it? In March, it's going to be a year. I can't believe it.
Alrighty.
There's a
Well,
question in the chat.
Christy Phillips has a question about Microsoft Word for students. Will you guys have the students' Microsoft Word working for us students who are not on campus? Chrissy, would you mind clarifying? Are you having issues accessing Microsoft Word?
And if you are, Chrissy, you may want to contact our help desk. I think the number is 486-5777. And pick the option for the help desk because we do for our students, whether they're on campus or not on campus, we try to make sure they do have Microsoft. So you may want to reach out to our help desk to assist you with that.
Dr. Dove, do you mind putting that phone number in the
Ooh.
chat for us?
Okay, let me run next door and make sure I gave you the right number before I put it in the chat, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, don't send them to the library. Although the library probably would be able to transfer you right away because they know where everything's at. Okay, any other questions while Dr. Dove is getting that number? I'm going through here.
Okay, Christy says yes. We can't log in, and we can't log in, and they have told her twice that she would have to be using the school's hotspot to use her Microsoft Word account for her student account.
So when you contact the help desk, we do have some hotspots that were available for students. So they may be able to assist you with that too, but I'm putting the number in the chat right now.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to make sure it was the right number.
And Chrissy, can you just in the chat go directly to Dr. Dove and just give her your phone number and then maybe we can just walk it over and have one of them call you right now? That way.
Yeah, send it to me in private message and I'll take it to someone.
I don't want the number, Chrissy, but you can do it directly to Dr. Dove.
Also, I have another question that was sent to me by other students. They were talking about, a couple of days ago, they heard about the Alamo Promise on NPR.
Yes.
And then they still don't know exactly what's going on. If you can just talk a little bit about Alamo Promise.
So for those students that are currently Alamo Promise students that were in the fall, that continues in the spring through the summer and through the year. So they will still get their tuition paid for This is the last dollar scholarship. So whatever difference they need, those will be covered. We are starting off our second cohort of Alamo Promise. So right now the student success folks are reaching out to the seniors. The two schools that we work with here at NLC are Judson and Wagner high schools. And so those seniors are currently accepting a place for their seat. They're actually saving their seat for fall of 2021 when they will have graduated from Wagner and Judson, and then they would start at NLC. So there is a process to save your seat. It's not only saying, yes, I want to be an Alamo Promise student. There's some deadlines, but that they would have applied for their federal financial aid. They also would have done their testing. And so there's a couple of requisites that they would get done their senior year. But the advantage for those seniors, as well as we have 23 other high schools. So if you've got cousins that are attending San Antonio ISD or some of the high schools, we have it listed under Alamo Promise, all the high schools that are eligible for Alamo Promise. Those students would have to go through the same requirements of those save their seats, and then they would get their last dollar scholarships, which pays for their tuition at Alamo. So that way they can take their 2 years here and not have any student loan debt, but then can transfer to the 4-year. So the Alamo Promise, there's continuing Alamo Promise students, which is a good point, Julie, have to also fill out their FAFSA for this year. And you want to make sure, and this is something that you all should share with your colleagues, your students, that the FAFSA is already open. And what happens is when there are additional federal and state dollar scholarships, it's on a first come, first served basis. So the sooner you fill out, I always tell students, by Valentine's Day, you should have filled out your FAFSAs, and that's giving yourself a gift, because there's additional funds that are available, and it always hits to the first come, first serve. And by Valentine's Day, the day after, it's pretty much already all sort of distributed. By March 1st, they've already given all that money out. So for the students that apply late, they miss an opportunity of additional couple of $100 from state grants and other grants that are available to students. So I think that's important. Right now, the FAFSA is open for fall 2021. So we want to get the word out to please apply.
And I'd like to add real quick, I know I'm technically a first generation American on my mother's side. My mother has never had to fill out a FAFSA application. She just says, do you need my tax stuff? Here you go. But she can't help me fill out the FAFSA itself. So there are resources available at NLC, at some of the other colleges, that you should take advantage of if you know your parents can't help you fill out your FAFSA.
Mm-hmm. You just need to get them their tax returns and then give them a pen so they can sign it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Garcia and Dr. Dove and Ms. Julie Kirkland-Poyer for all your help in the chat box.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Poyer. Okay. There are FAFSA Zoom rooms and FAFSA Saturdays. So we'll have to look into that and help y'all promote those.
Yeah, I just posted the FAFSA Saturday just above Dean Poyer's post. So you have that link. We post them in the news articles in Alamo Experience regularly. So please make sure that you guys are watching that. And I also posted the, if you scroll up a little bit, the NLC November flyers, and that also has the FAFSA Saturdays on there. So you can click on that and it has the electronic flyers of everything going on in the month of November.
Thank you. We also have the Student Life or Student Involvement e-magazine later in the presentation. And Alamo Experience and all that. All right, then if no one has any more questions, then
I got just one more thing very quickly. I'm becoming the de facto, person here. I got another concern. People are asking about sports. Are we going to have basketball? We're going to have volleyball, and is the Women's Center going to be open? I just got this question. And guys, anybody has any question, you can just post it on chat or you can ask directly.
Mm-hmm.
So up to the 25%. At this time, we are not having any events on campus. So during the spring, I'm not expecting to have any sports. However, the pandemic dictates what goes on after spring into summer and fall. So right now, no, we're not having any sports. In my understanding, I don't think we have any classes in wellness either.
Wellness is
Okay.
closed.
And so remember that anywhere where we have activities or have anything going on, we have to have a monitor there to ensure that we're doing the social distancing. And we also have to have housekeeping staff there to disinfect periodically after we have staff or students in those areas. So those buildings are not open.
Good question.
Yes, thank you. All righty then.
All right, Megan, thank you. I will
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. Thank you so much.
safe, mask up.
And Chrissy, I did send you a private message before you log off. I sent you my email also. In case you don't get any help, please email me so I can follow up for you. I just wanted you to get it before you log off.
Thank you, Dr. Dove.
But they are expecting you, they are going to be calling you, and they already know that one of the items that you do need is a hotspot, and we do have some available. I did confirm. Okay.
We love to see it. Student outreach in action. You just witnessed it live. All righty, Morgan. Okay, thank you. So at the previous town hall, we did this exercise from a website called Mentimeter, and they have a bunch of different poll layouts that you can do. So I decided to ask the students to do a word cloud. So we're going to do another one and see. This was, oh gosh, when was it? Was this summer? This was over the summer, I believe, where everyone was still kind of transitioning into going to class solely on Zoom or solely online, you know, the virtual transition. So because some time has passed since we started this transition, I'd like to ask y'all to give us some feedback on how you're feeling about remote and online learning now. So the previous responses we got, the biggest one was excited. Some people say hopeful, supported, good, great, prepared, but others say, oh, thank you, Professor. Others say they're nervous or they're tired, isolated. Again, depends on the professor. Bored, indifferent. There's some really interesting really interesting responses. So Morgan, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so if y'all could please either click the link that Talia sent in the chat, or you can go to menti.com, MENTI, and enter the code 535404. And we'll leave this code up until, oh, let me see if I can pull it up. My laptop is being wonky, but my phone is working fine. So this is very fun. Oops, what is this? Okay. So you'll be asked to enter 3 words. You can enter, y'all should be able to enter 3 different responses each time. So you're not just limited to 3 responses if you think of anything else. So I'll go ahead and start. And you should be able to watch the word cloud live. Hi, Anna. So if you're here for extra credit, we'll send the extra credit link in a little bit, but this is for a word cloud activity that we're doing just to gauge some how students are feeling about remote learning. So if you go to the website, Tali, if you could send it again, because I don't know if she has access to it since she joined after. Go to the website menti.com and enter the code on the screen, and you'll be asked to submit 3 different responses for how you're feeling about remote online learning now compared to when we first transitioned online. So I'll put some in. And SGA officers, advisors, administrators, you're all invited to do the same. And then my doc still isn't loading on my laptop right now. So once we get, oh, let me see it. I really wasn't anticipating having this many issues with my,
If it doesn't work for you, I could go ahead and try.
Yeah, just because there should be a way for you to use the long link in the agenda to show like
Yeah.
the live results.
Let me see if I could pull it up.
I have multiple participants share on and see if that works.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's sorry, it looks like
oh
that.
wow, okay. I have it on my phone.
Go ahead and see if it's gonna work now for you.
Okay, let me try again.
Let me know if it asks you to log in. It shouldn't. But I can see it on my phone right now. Oh, wait.
Okay. I have it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Oh, wow. I really like this program. It's a new program that we found over the summer because the more responses, the more of the same responses that come in, the bigger the word gets. So it seems like the biggest word here is tired. And I'm sure everyone in SGA can definitely empathize with that. I know we're getting a lot of Zoom burnout, being overwhelmed with family obligations, financial obligations, and not knowing what's going to come next. So if y'all need any kind of support, SGA is here to connect you with resources. We also have the director of the Nighthawk's Nest Advocacy Center at NLC to help connect you to other resources if you need them. So don't be afraid to reach out. We're here to help you. Oh, wow. And we will save this and share it to our Alamo Experience page, and we'll share all that information later.
Talia, you might want to try refreshing the page as well, just in case we get more coming in.
Ooh, maybe. Wow, yeah. Wow, thank you all for sharing. I know it can be kind of hard to be introspective and try to be and check in with yourself. So thank you. Okay, Morgan, if you want to, we can go back to the, what's it called? The slide. Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for sharing. We'll go ahead and keep going. Next slide, please. Okay, leading us into the student activity fee. Every Alamo College's student pays $3 per credit hour they're taking. So if you're taking one class, that's 3 hours, and that's $9 in the student activity fee. So that, you know, that's multiplied depending on how many classes you're taking. This budget, all that money goes into one giant budget, and that funds trips to conferences or promotional items for or materials for student organizations and guest speaker events that we may have through the school, and many, many other things. There is a committee made up of faculty, staff, and students to oversee this budget and make sure that we are being responsible. I guess that might be bad phrasing. This committee, it's called the Student Service Fee Advisory Committee, or SSFAC for short. It is comprised of 4 faculty and staff members, 5 students, and 1 non-voting faculty or staff chairperson. This committee manages the yearly budget and the student activity fee requests made by organizations or by the Alamo Institutes. Next slide, please. So last spring, there was a survey released from basically all through March and about halfway through April, asking the students about different questions they had regarding, or different concerns they had regarding the student activity fee. And we also used the survey to gauge student engagement and why students aren't participating in campus life activities. So some of the challenges that NLC, these are NLC specific responses, I think, or no, this is all of Alamo Colleges, sorry. I've gone through this information so much. So a majority of students reported that lack of time or the timing of the event was inconvenient for them. They weren't able to make it because they had other obligations. I mean, on the screen it says career or work. they had difficulty getting childcare, or they need to, go home and take care of family members. Lack of awareness, school obligations, they had classes or other things to do for school. And 5% answered transportation was an issue, getting to and from school or to and from events. These are some recommendations for new activities or events that came in. And this was, so we asked students about the challenges they faced, and then we also asked students what activities or programs they were interested in seeing, because the student activity fee pays for a majority of these events that happen. So a lot of students recommended more outdoor and physical activities. A lot more students wanted mock interviews or resume review and writing workshops. Health-focused, family-focused activities, financial education workshops, and things like that. So these are from last year or last semester. Next slide, please. Okay, quick question, another question time. In the chat, the question is, considering the information presented in the 2 previous slides about the challenges and recommendations, and considering current events such as the COVID-19 pandemic or civil rights events that are happening right now, do you think the challenges and recommendations for students have changed? And please give some examples of how. And we'll give everyone a few minutes to think about it and type it in the chat. If you did not get the extra credit link before, there is a QR code on this slide as well if you need to access that. And again, we'll provide all of this. We'll cycle the link through the chat if you can't use if you're using your phone through Zoom. But so challenges. So I guess I'll get started. I have seen in talking to students that because a lot of students are working from home now, a lot of student parents are working from home, there is a decrease in the need for childcare so that parents can actually physically go to work. But now that they don't need to go to work, they just stay home with their kids. So there isn't as much of a need for childcare or for contracted childcare, I should specify. Or transportation isn't too much of an issue now that most classes or most students are taking classes online, things like that. So we just wanted to gauge y'all's opinions.
Megan, I had a question. The survey results, are those just for NLC students or is that across all the colleges?
I believe those are across the colleges, but I do have the survey results specific for NLC.
Okay, I was just curious to see if it was similar to that or what specifically NLC students were looking for.
Yes, I do have the recommendations. I have a different slide for NLC.
Okay.
But oh, I blanked. The student activity fee survey was kind of promoted, and the student district council, which is comprised of all 2 members of each student government at each college, we helped develop and promote the completion of the survey. So collectively, we had a goal to reach 10% of our student populations at each of the 5 Alamo colleges. We all exceeded that goal. We were very happy when we learned that. I think out of the 6,800-ish students that we had enrolled at NLC last semester, we had almost 800 answers. So that's a pretty good representation. That's over 10% of representation from the student body. If anyone wants to see the challenges or recommendations again, let us know because we can go back if you need help. A lot of people.
Is there someone that they can private chat if they don't want it shown on here? Because maybe that's the reason why you don't have anybody participating.
They can private message me, or all of the SGA officers have their positions labeled next to their name. So if you want to email anyone who has secretary or advisor next to their names, you can do that too. You can PM them. Thank you, JJ. Or you can email us if you need more time to think of the answer. Again, this entire presentation, the chat transcript, the agendas, all the links will be made available. Sorry, my dog is snoring. All the information will be made available in our Alamo Experience portal, and we'll also share those links. So If not, we'll move on and we
We
can,
will have a couple. We'll have the links and stuff up on our social media accounts as well.
yes, thank you. Because we have those now. We didn't have those before. I just wanted to show y'all the breakdown of how the student activity fee is distributed. This is NLC specific. So this was for the fiscal year 2020, I believe. So you can see the breakdown of where the, thank you, Talia, yes. This is the specific breakdown of where a student activity fee is, or of how it's distributed. So leadership and support, general programming, all the events we have on campus or virtually. And this is what is spent. This is not the specific amounts that each of these categories receives for the year. This is just what was spent over the year. Next slide, please. Which leads us into student activity fee programs for fall 2020. We will still have virtual programming and services scheduled, even though we are not on campus. We're still having guest speakers, contests, leadership opportunities. SGA has attended or been invited to attend a couple virtual conferences already since semester started. Professional development, advocacy support, and of course, preparations for our safe return. So we are still using this budget. Don't worry, your money's not just sitting there. And the student activity fee does go back to the students. We'll move on to some examples of programming we have. We have the Officers Roundtable. If you are a student leader or if you're interested in becoming a student leader, we encourage you all to attend the Officers Roundtable. They are every first Friday of every month from 12:30 to 2 p.m. We have some workshops going on. We have the resume building and resume writing workshops, financial literacy workshops. Where is it? We have an interview process workshop going on, which is, what else? We have NLC Student Lounge Hangouts, where they play games, or I think sometimes y'all do trivia. We have the International Education Week coming up, which should be very fun. We always have very good programming for that event. We also have tomorrow hosted by the Black Student Union at NLC, of which Talia is the president and founder. We have a panel about de facto segregation, hosted by Talia, and I believe student trustee Darius Martin is also participating in that event. We also have a super cool student involvement e-magazine, which y'all can access through the link that Talia just sent in the chat box. It's interactive and it flips just like a real magazine. It's really cool. But yeah, these are just a few examples of all the programming that's offered just through NLC Student Life. Next slide, please. Thank you, Talia. Yes. Sorry, hold on, it's not loading on my screen. There we go. So we just have a few examples of the current active NLC student organizations for this semester. Like I just mentioned, Black Student Union is active. National Society of Leadership and Success has been very active in the virtual world. Gardening Club is still out and about doing stuff, maintaining our beautiful gardens on campus. The GSA, or Gender and Sexualities Alliance, is also very active. They have online events at least every single week, which I think that takes a lot. CAB is organizing things. PTK, Phi Theta Kappa, is organizing they have organized the October Run 5K, virtual 5K. Young Professionals, one of Talia's other groups, is also doing, y'all just had an event about resume writing.
Oh, we're gonna have that one again too.
Cool. Okay, wonderful. Awesome. Men of NLC has been doing a lot of stuff, and of course, Student Government Association. We organize things like this. Next slide, please. Okay, a lot of students that I've talked to don't really know or don't seem to know what Alamo Experience is, so I wanted to highlight it this time around and show y'all it's alamo.campuslabs.com/engage. That's the whole Alamo Experience website, and then from there you can narrow down what school which college you're looking to get involved in. You can narrow down the student government student organizations or interest clubs, anything like that. So we'll also be sharing that link in the chat or the QR code if you're interested. Next slide, please. But that's your Alamo Experience is the portal you use to access all events, all student-led organizations on campus, everything. Like that's your, it's like a treasure trove. It's amazing. Next slide, please. So, oh yes. There is going to be a panel of mental health professionals discussing life during COVID-19, how it's going for everybody, how we're taking care of ourselves mentally and emotionally. It's open to all NLC students. That will be next Tuesday, right? What day is it? No, next Thursday, sorry.
Thursday, yeah.
Thank you. Next Thursday from 12:30 to 1:30, it's free. The Zoom meeting info is down below or is at the bottom of the screen. Of course, you know, we'll share this on our Alamo Experience page and you can access it there. Next slide, please. Thank you. On this slide, we have the information for the district-wide information for COVID-19 and the specific fall 2020 COVID-19 information just for your perusal. If you have any additional questions. Next slide, please. Okay. Ms. Garcia, I know you said, oh, wait. Okay, I think I misunderstood. Are you able to give your presentation?
Yes, so Ursula, actually, we are partnering with our UTSA and Our Lady of the Lake. So we have a few interns in our program. And one of our interns, Ursula, she'll be doing the presentation. She's one of our social work master level interns. So I'm gonna let her take the lead. Thank you, Ursula.
Wonderful. Okay, Ursula, you can go ahead. You have the floor. It's all yours.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is actually my first student government, SGA meeting. So I'm actually finding this really interesting and fascinating that you guys kind of have this community where y'all are able to kind of just get all this information out. I think that's really great, especially when we kind of feel disconnected right now. I think a lot of us kind of feel that way. I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation. So the title is called A Review of Mental Health. And next slide, please. So what is mental health? It's a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. And this is according to the World Health Organization. So mental illness. So mental illness or mental health disorders refer to a wide range of mental health conditions, disorders that affect your mood, thinking, and behavior. So examples of mental illness include depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, eating disorders, and addictive behaviors. So what causes mental illness? So some of the factors include genetics, changes in brain chemistry, and the environment. So this is a lot of information on this poster, and it's really small too. So just some of the warning signs of mental illness. Some of them can be, feeling sad. Other ones can be anxiety, where, you're having just lots of bouts of worry. You're having a hard time concentrating, whether it be on schoolwork, family life, or just things in your everyday life. You're sometimes having a hard time completing assignments, or you kind of feel like you're disconnecting from your friends and your family. Those can definitely be some of those signs. Some of the more extreme signs can be like excessive use of alcohol or drugs. And then also some drastic changes in mood, behavior, personality, or sleeping habits. So those are just some more information for you to look at. This is according to NAMI. They're a really good resource. Definitely if you have somebody in your life that either you are concerned about or does struggle with mental illness, NAMI is definitely a really, really good resource. They have local resources. They also have good talking points for you to kind of have conversations with people in your life. So definitely check that out whenever y'all have some time. Okay, So there's this thing called the mental health self-care wheel. Self-care is something that's extremely important. And I think especially not only just during this time, but just in general, self-care is something where you're taking care of yourself, because in order for you to try and be there for others, you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. And sometimes what people think is self-care can be like, oh, I'm gonna go treat myself to dinner, or I'm gonna go buy myself something really expensive, but that's not always the case. There are little things you can do to help with maintaining your own mental health and your own stability. So one of the ones can be is physical, so like regular medical care, you're eating healthy, you're getting regular sleep, you're exercising, things like that. And sometimes things can just be as physical, can be as like intimacy. So some of the things that I've heard about physical is like sometimes it's just like holding your pet, whether it be your cat or your dog. So that's a really nice form of physical self-care. And I know pets love hugs too. So psychological, so you take time for self-reflection, therapy or counseling, meditation, keeping a journal, being creative, and then also joining support groups as well. Emotional, so explore a hobby, again, cuddle with your pet, so can win-win in physical and emotional. And then also sometimes it's good to have a cry or a laugh. Sometimes it's just kind of good to get those emotions out as well. And then there's spiritual, so you practice forgiveness, spend time in nature, connect with your spiritual community, sing and dance, yoga, volunteering for a cause. And then personal, so plan and set goals, you spend time with your family. Sometimes you can read a book, make time for your friends. I know it's kind of hard right now with making connections, but sometimes setting up maybe like a Zoom get together. You guys can, have a book club together, or you guys can kind of just catch up and hang out, different things like that. And then also professional. So take a full lunch break. Sometimes that's really good, especially if you have a full workload in your jobs, things like that, kind of just taking your time away from the computer. And then also using your vacation time, that's always nice. And then also taking into consideration taking a mental health day. Those are always really good to consider, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed or overworked in your jobs. So we are here to support you. So I really love what the Student Advocacy Center does for its students. They have so many resources and are just so well connected, not only to students, but to the community as well. So these are just some of the services that we offer. One of them is counseling, of course. And of course that's short term as well. And also counseling can just be something, if you are needing just to talk to somebody, we definitely want to let students know that we are here for them. Some mental health services can also be if you're needing resources to other areas of your mental health. We definitely have those connections for you. Case management, so that can be as far as for connections to local resources. So rather than be needing assistance with utilities or I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. I know definitely one of them is utilities, is like number one that I hear. So kind of just having those resources available to students, so that way they are able to get the help that they need. Emergency food assistance, that was more what we were talking about with the food drives. We actually just had one a few weeks ago, and it was actually really nice to kind of just see the community come together safely and being able to know that there's a need out there. And then also we do offer HEB curbside pickup as well for students who aren't able to, who aren't able to come to the food drive but are still needing food. Disability support services and foster care services as well. So you will see our website on here and then the email. So definitely, do not hesitate to reach out. We definitely want to help you the best way we can. And then there's our main helpline as well.
Thank you, Ursula. That was awesome. So we are highly encouraging everybody to take care of your mental health, because a lot of people, when they hear the word mental health, they think mental illness, and it's the opposite. So you have to really do and practice self-care, especially right now when we feel disconnected from each other, right? So highly encouraging that. The other thing I want to announce, two events that we have coming up. One is listening sessions. We want to hear from our students. We want to make sure that you guys are taken care of, that the needs that happen outside of the classroom, we're here to support you. So we don't know what those needs are. We can only guess, right, what we think may help you. So we want to hear from you. We really want to provide that safe place for you to let us know, hey, this is happening in my life. This is how this is impacting my life, or COVID, or whatever it is that you're going through. So we're having those listening sessions next week, November 18th, and I'll put the link in the chat so you guys can know where to register. And we're going to have 2 different sessions in the morning and in the afternoon. So we are highly encouraging you guys to participate in those. And then the other event that we have coming up is another food distribution, another pop-up market. So whether you're interested in receiving food, if you are experiencing food insecurity, that's the right place to go. There's a phone number, I put it in the chat, where you can register ahead of time, but we also need volunteers. So if you're looking for an opportunity to volunteer and give back to the community, please register to volunteer. Again, I put the link and the phone numbers in the chat. Thank you all. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Garcia and Ursula. That was great. Thank you so much. Sorry. I have my dogs in here so they don't run around the living room and bark. Okay, here's some additional information just about the NLC Advocacy Center, taken directly from the website. All Alamo College District Advocacy Centers have partnered with the San Antonio Food Bank to provide food and other necessities to students. So if NLC is not your home campus, or if you kind of have your classes split, you should be able to access the resources at all the advocacy centers. Next slide, please. Okay, here's just the Advocacy Center contact info again. You have the Alamo College's helpline numbers, the hours for those for the helpline. Oh, the email for, is the email still the same as Garcia, NLC-nest? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, all they ask is that you leave your name, banner ID, and email, or student email if you reach their voicemail, and they'll get back to you in about 2 business days. Next slide, please. Okay, the election was last week, and at student government, or for all student governments, we have to stay nonpartisan, unbiased. We're just here to support you however you may feel. So we'd like to highlight some post-election support ideas, concepts, some advice. A lot of people have split families, where they have family members who have very different political views. We'd like to remind y'all to stay empathetic of people who don't think the same way that you might. Stay informed. Don't get your information from social media, or don't only rely on Facebook and Twitter for your news sources. Go look at valid professional news sources to stay informed and stay positive. There is a reason why there are 3 branches of government, and why those branches of government have multiple people within them too. It's the checks and balances. So just be aware that however you may feel, it's not the end of the world. Because I've seen opinions on both sides where everybody's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what's gonna happen. It'll be okay. And everyone at NLC, all the administrators, faculty, staff members, student leaders, and student government, we're all here to help support you. If you have any questions or concerns about current events that you don't want to discuss in a public forum like this, you can always email us at nlc-sga@alamo.edu. We can set up some office hours, and you can just let it out if you need to. That's what we're here for. Next slide, please. We also like to highlight knowing how to fact check your resources. So Facebook is kind of controversial, where people are accusing Facebook of being like a favoring the alt-right or things like that. You know, you see all these things about Facebook and their fake news fact-checking software or algorithms. So these are just some things that, I mean, I've learned them as a communications major, or anyone who does research projects, whatever, anything like that. So number one, try to find sources from no later than 3 years ago. So if it's from before 2017, try and find something that's a little more up to date, because information changes all the time. Always check the bias of your sources. That could be political bias, media bias, any of that. Media Bias Fact Check is one of my favorite websites because they provide their rating of the source as a whole, of the factual, of how factual the reporting is. So whether it's always factual or least factual compared to other sources. They also analyze the source, and they give their reasoning for why they rate the source the way they do. Again, don't rely on social media for news, always double check information, and don't be afraid to look at different perspectives. There are some people who only rely on Fox News. There are some people who only rely on NBC. Look at different news sources and see how they present the same story, the same information. And then and then make your own opinions. You know, don't let other people think for you. Next slide, please. Okay, the Office of Student Life has also released a self-care survey. We'd really appreciate all of you filling that out. Again, there's a huge emphasis on taking care of ourselves right now. I mean, I know a lot of us in SGA are really feeling Zoom burnout. We spend a lot of our time in Zoom rooms and Zoom meetings, Zoom classes. So, you know, get outside, take your dogs for a walk. I love taking my dogs to a dog park and just sitting there while they run around and taking in the sun. Make sure you're going outside and getting sunlight. Vitamin D is so important to your overall well-being, mental and physical, emotional, all of it. 15 minutes a day, I think, is all you need to have a healthy level of vitamin D in your system.
Megan, can I say something really quick?
Go ahead.
So we really want to help you guys out. We can't help you if we don't know what you need help with. So this healthcare survey and all the surveys that we do are so that we could gauge where our students need help or any assistance that we could provide for them. So when we know what our community is struggling with, then we know what actions to take going forward. So please take the time to fill out this self-care survey. We would really appreciate it so we know how to help you, and it's also going to serve to be quite beneficial to you in return.
You are exactly right. Thank you very much. Yep, she's right. We can't gauge student feedback without any feedback. When we say we're asking for student feedback, we actually take that information back to our student government meetings and we go through it. Like we're not just asking to be nice. You know, our priority is the students, the student success and students' well-being. So thank you. Mr. John Jacobs has put our email in the chat if y'all would like to reach out. And we do check our emails. Okay, next slide, please. Again, here's the laptop lending program. We also have the hotspot. I don't have the hotspot link, but you can either use this link or contact your professor. Yes, thank you. The same goes for the hotspots. Next slide, please. Dr. Garcia covered this in her presentation, but here we have the visual map for the Wi-Fi coverage in the NLC parking lot. If you don't have Wi-Fi at home, or if you have like not good Wi-Fi at home, like I do. Yeah, this is all on the NLC website too. Next slide, please. Here we have some really exciting upcoming leadership opportunities. SGA elections are next April. We'll start campaigning, or we'll allow interested students also to start campaigning in March, or I think in February, and then the elections will be open from March until about April. Like end of March, early April is usually our timeline. You can follow us on our Alamo Experience Instagram and Facebook pages for updates. We'll post more specific information when the time comes, like as we get closer to the well, once we decide election week, because we have to contend with like finals and midterms and all of that when we come up with these dates. We covered the Student Service Fee Advisory Committee before. JJ, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we still need one more student to serve on this committee. I can't see you. Oh, he's not here. Okay. Morgan, you're on SSFAC. Do y'all still need one more student?
I believe we need one more student. Ace, you can correct me. I think we need one more though, for sure.
Two more. Okay. Yeah, we need 2 more students on service on the SSFAC. So that's super important that we get a full board for that, because it's really hard to get student activity fee requests moved forward if we don't have input, if we don't go through the proper channels and get enough input from everyone in that group. We also have these, oh, go ahead, JJ.
These opportunities, thank you, Madam Chair and Madam President. These opportunities also are great for your resume and your co-curricular profile. These students you're seeing with these backgrounds are really beefing up their resumes and their co-curricular profile. Co-curricular profile is your engagement profile, your engagement resume. And so Sahara, SSFAC, SGA, NSLS, BSU, all those opportunities are great for your experiences as you go forward. You know, as you go on, you don't want to wait till later on to get these experiences. You want to get it now so that you can have people that can write letter recommendations for you, or just speak about it when you have a job. So yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. It also helps. So one of the other huge, amazing things about Alamo Experience is that when you RSVP to events, or when you sign up to be in student organizations through Alamo Experience, all of that is recorded through your extracurricular transcript, I believe it's called. And Alamo Experience is, like, at the district level, they're currently working on a way for, if you're transferring to a different to a university in the future, when you send your academic transcripts, you'll also be able to send in your Alamo Experience transcripts to show that university, especially if you're going for leadership positions or scholarships or anything. Your Alamo Experience transcript will kind of be attached, to my understanding, to your academic transcript, and then the advising department at whatever school you're transferring to can review both and see how involved you were as a student. So it's really important not only to be involved while you're here at NLC or at any of the Alamo colleges, but also to, you know, attend these events and use Alamo Experience to RSVP or provide feedback. So Student Service Fee Advisory Committee is on Alamo Experience. It is a great leadership opportunity if you're not sure how involved you want to be. I know I was kind of questioning it when I first got involved with student government. I will concede that SSFAC is one of those groups where the least involved you are in other groups, the better. Because when I was on SSFAC, I had to abstain from a majority of the requests because I was involved in so many groups. So it seems counterintuitive, but it is really fun. It's a very pretty light workload, would y'all say? You just take requests as they come, and you get to learn a little bit about teamwork, working together to come to a conclusion. It's a great teamwork experience. I think I should highlight that too. Okay, next we have the San Antonio Higher Education Representative Assembly. So this is comprised of 4 members from each student government association at each of the 11 Alamo colleges, plus 4 members of an executive board, and former students can join the advisory council, but that's a different thing.
All of the colleges in San Antonio, it does have all 5 of the Alamo colleges, but the rest are San Antonio colleges.
Yes. College universities, we have to. So that's all 5, yeah. So that's 6 higher education institutions. So like it says in the chat, we all work together to identify issues across all campuses. So Student District Council is solely for Alamo colleges, but Sahara is for all colleges and universities. So they kind of serve the same purpose, where we work together and collaborate to create solutions to address any issues that we're all experiencing. I think we need 2 members for our Sahara Council, I believe Morgan and Talia are currently two of our members. I'm currently the chair for Sahara for this year. It actually is really fun if you like collaborating and teamwork, and I don't know, I feel like it's a pretty chill group with how huge it's supposed to be. And everyone's so cool. And really one of our focuses this year for Sahara is to strengthen the relationship between the community colleges and the universities. Student District Council, or the ad hoc committee of Student District Council, is also working on a podcast called Student Nation. Morgan, if you want to give a quick overview of that. We're almost done, I promise.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually the co-chair for the ad hoc committee of the Student District Council. And we are in the beginning stages of launching a podcast titled Student Nation. And this podcast is just a way to reach out to students, to give them information, to discuss some things that are going on in their lives. We are going to have student guests, and we're also going to have leaders in business and our own Alamo College district that are going to be coming on and discussing things as well. We are always looking for students who are interested and would like to be involved with that. And I can put my email in the chat right here, and you guys can feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about it. And, you know, if you want to be on and you want to talk about something, just let me know and we can see what we can do.
Or if you're still looking for, I know before in some of our meetings, you've asked for prompts or for questions to address during podcasts.
Yes, so we
feeds,
will be having some commentary that you guys can provide where you guys can ask questions, you guys can interact with us and just kind of, you know, any information like that. If you guys wanted, let's say we did a podcast on, you know, just leadership, student leadership. You guys could ask a question like, what can I get involved in on my campus? And we can connect you with the people that you need to get involved with.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're really excited.
Can I just add one more thing that may be helpful for students?
Okay.
I just was reminded of this now that we're mentioning the SCC podcast, which I'm so excited about, by the way. We also, our student trustee has recently started fireside chats, which you should be getting emails about. I know they've done one episode, which actually featured Morgan here that's with us today, our historian and our student trustee alternate. So that will also have helpful information. It should be on the Alamo College's YouTube as well.
Thank you. Okay, next slide, please. All right, we're here. We made it. Thank you, everyone who stayed on to the end. We are now at the open floor portion of our town hall. If you missed the extra credit link or the QR code before, it's on the screen, or we'll share it again in the chat. All of our contact information is on the screen right now. We have our Instagram, NLC SGA, all lowercase. We have our email, nlc-sga@alamo.edu, all lowercase. And we have a brand spanking new Facebook page run by our very own historian, Morgan Varela. She really took the charge on getting us that Facebook page to connect us to students who may not have Instagram. And that one is just Northeast Lakeview College Student Government Association. And you'll see colors similar to this just in case something else pops up. But that's it. If y'all have any questions, you can share them in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and you can ask your question. But we're here to support you in whatever you may need. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And thank you all for coming. Thank you to all the administrators, staff, faculty members, advisors, everybody, all the students who came today. I just love these.
Well, thank you, Megan, for leading this town hall.
Yes, thank you guys. You guys did awesome.
Thank you. Or if you're interested in joining SGA, you can let us know.